And we are live. Hi, everybody, and welcome to the second installation of the COODIO Show. Today, we have a great show waiting for you. We're going to talk all things podcasts, and we're also going to talk about the audio industry as a whole. Big surprise, a little bit about beer, lighthearted conversation, all the great stuff. So, not keeping you waiting, let's go right to it. Hi, Matthieu. How's it going?
Hi, Asaf. I'm fine, and you?
Well, it's a tough day, but when I get to do these shows, I'm really happy. So, there's always a silver lining. And, Matthieu, let's get right to it. Like, we're going to talk all things podcasts. And it's really close to my heart and to this company. So, let's get the show on the road. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about you. Matthieu, what are you doing?
Okay, so let's say, I don't know if you know, but I'm based in France, in Lyon, okay? And I like to define myself like a recidivist entrepreneur because I really enjoy creating innovating new venture. Oh. So that's what I do.
That sounds pretty good. Well, you do a lot of things. You grounded several startups. You're working now with Digigram. You have your own podcast, or you help people do their podcasts. If I got this correct, you help people get their podcasts. So let's talk a little bit about this. So this is basically the main thing that you're doing.
Okay. Yeah. So I don't have my own podcast. I would like, but not right now.
You are on one now.
Yes, right. It all started, let's say, about 1 year ago, and I was discussing with one of my friends, which is Jeremy, which is the CEO of Digigram company. So Digigram company, for those who don't know, they are phone card manufacturer and also a broadcasting solution provider for all radio. That's their main market, but they are doing a lot of things. But let's say. This is the easiest to understand. So they're working with radio. Okay, right?
Yeah.
And we were discussing because we are both very big fan of podcast show. And we wanted to create, so it all started with that. We wanted to create a podcast. And because I am really not coming from the audio field, so I am not really confident with all the technical things and audio things. And so I said to him that would be complicated for me. And he said, no, that would be great that we create a solution for people like you that they don't know anything about podcast or audio, but they want to talk to people. So let's do a solution. Let's find a solution for them. And that's how it started.
So you've touched so many subjects that I find interesting. So I'm going to get really nitty-gritty, as they say, with you about that. Why is it difficult to make a podcast? Why is it difficult for some people?
In fact, you have a lot of different issues. It depends on your background and what you like. If you're coming from the audio field, like, I don't know, you are a musician, you know exactly how to use an editing software. So that's easy for you. But when I see some curves, audio curves, I'm just repelling myself. So it's very, very difficult for me. And for other people is that they don't know how to start, how to find the right content to do a podcast, and how to structure it. So it's a lot of things to how can I say?
Well, maybe I can help you a little bit with that, with something that I experienced. So when I started both in audio and video. Like I did both. I had vlog and a podcast. And at some point I combined them both. But the thing that I found difficult about audio. So if you get good video, it's okay. But the video, as we can see in TikTok and Vines and like how things develop, the quality of the video is not important. It's almost like a brand. If you have a bad video, it's okay. But bad audio, it's different. So if you have bad audio, people aren't going to listen to it. And that's something video fails. And audio gets good. But to get good audio, that's not easy because it's not visual. So that's for me. But do you, when you say that you help people do their podcast, it's not just about editing, right? It's about everything about audio.
Everything. It's from the recording step to the hosting, and all the. In fact, it's hardware and software. It's everything from the beginning to the end.
That sounds pretty interesting. Now, another question that I really want to grill you about. Now, what is a podcast? We have so many discussions about that. Like, what is really a podcast? How would you define it?
It's not easy to answer. We already had the short talk before, but
that's true.
For me, podcast is something different from the other audio. When you're listening to some music, it's more talking to your emotional part. I don't know.
No, that's true. You're right.
Yes. And if you are just listening radio, it's just to, how can I say, to divert a little bit yourself, to spend some time. But for me, podcast is that you want to feed your brain with that. You want to have a subject that is talking to you. We call it a lot of time niche, because you know exactly what you want to hear. You want to hear about a subject or about something. And for me, podcast is something that is not polluted by other subjects that you don't care about. I don't know, it could be a lot, but for me, it's going straight to the point and is somebody talking to you directly about the subject you want to hear.
That is so true. That is so true. I agree with you so much about this because we had so many discussions, and we always have so many discussions about that. And often what people maybe misunderstand is that if you put just a piece of audio, it was recorded by a radio station, you put it online, it's on demand, it's a podcast. No. Like I could also, to a certain point, say that this show, it's not really a podcast in some sense. It's a show. Right. We do it often. Sometimes the subject is here, sometimes the subject is there. But it is a bit niche, and that is where I think I agree with you. It's the niche. It's that for example, I love a podcast called Hardcore History. And the podcast is what it is. It's hardcore. It's 4 hours diving deep. Amazing podcast. I love it. But that's a point. It would never go into a show on radio. It's too extreme. It's too much. It would never work. So I think I agree with you completely. Now, did you ever? You said you considered making a podcast. Did you ever think about this idea when you say consider it? If you would have one, how would it be?
I don't know, to be honest, because we got a lot of talk about this and different type of subjects, and the thing we wanted to do, and if I have one podcast one day, it has to be very different. I think it has to be on a specific subject, that we said before, but it has to be very different and something fresh. And that's why I still don't have my podcast, because for the moment I only have the same idea than everybody, So I want to do something different. If I want to do something, it should be very different.
I agree with you completely. It's all about that. It's not, you can't, it's so popular right now, which actually leads well to my next question to you. It's so popular that I'm asking myself, is podcasting really still a good idea for business?
I hope so.
Well, it's saturated. The market is saturated.
No, in fact, when you look into the amount of money which is investing right now by Spotify, for example, and of course there is a lot of value right now for maybe for big big platform and big advertiser and big publisher, and it's maybe more difficult for smaller publisher. And when you said that maybe the podcasting is saturated, I think it's more for them than for big publisher. But anyway, when you are looking for blogs, blogs, there is like something like 500 millions blogs.
Billions of blogs.
Yeah, I don't know. And we're just talking about something like 1 million podcasts. So it's nothing compared. So I've read an article a few days ago, and it was written like in 2017, I think, something like this. And podcast show were about 500,000, something like this. And people were already thinking that the market was saturated out. So now we are about 1 million, and people are still thinking it's saturated. So for me, it's not the number who do the saturation of the thing. Is just about is there still subject to cover? If yes, it's not saturated.
I agree completely. This is, usually I'd like to have a show where there is conflict, where I don't agree, but I can agree with everything you're saying. There's so much left to be discovered. And that's where the value is. You're completely right.
Yes.
Now, this does connect to when we're talking about the industry. This does something I want to bring up is that you have grounded a lot of startups.
Not a lot.
When you say more than one, for me, it's a lot.
Yes. So a lot.
I grounded 0.
Yeah.
Besides grounding a few initiatives that I did myself, startup is difficult. How is it for you?
Yeah, it's just the same for me. Don't worry. It's still difficult for everybody because there is no magic rule, for that.
Yeah,
but which is good is that you can learn from your past experience. So that's right. That's what I'm doing or trying to do.
How was your first experience, by the way?
It was, how can I say? That was in the game industry, so we wanted to do a publishing company.
Wait. You're in the gaming industry.
I was, obviously. I was.
I'm a gamer. Look at that. Like, well, different folks, different strokes. Yeah, I game, but I'm saying now your value for me is skyrocket. It's like the stock is exploded. I'm just where did you work by gaming? Do you saying?
In fact, just to be, it's for board game industry. So I don't know if you are.
Well, I board game too.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I board game too. I mean, some of gaming as a fact is a hobby. I mean, my family hates me because of Monopoly. I mean, but that's great.
Like everybody. Yeah, and we wanted to, as I said before, I like to create innovative new ventures. So that was not only board game, but that was board game with an application on smartphone.
Wow.
So it was like a mix between two. And so we got, it was only on the French market, or maybe a little bit on the Canadian market, but still in the French market.
That sounds really cool, though.
Yeah, we did it for 3 years, and we just closed the company last week. So.
Oh, you feel bad about that?
Very fresh. No, it's okay. No. It was more difficult 1 year ago, but no, it's okay.
Well, back to podcasting then. So that would be the second attempt, or not attempt? That's bad phrasing. Was the second time around?
Yeah. Sorry, say again, because I was still on the game.
No worries. So did you start with podcasting with your second startup?
Yeah. In fact, I was in the structure before that we were helping entrepreneurs to launch their startup. But that will be my own second startup. Yes.
Oh, okay. I understand. Well, as long as you're in the game, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's how it goes. And you're moving into, let's say that was the lead from the question from the beginning. So when you went from thinking about how you can help people do podcasts and then saying, well, I ground a startup about that. Did you saw the value in podcasting from the beginning, or was it just emotional? Like, I'm really emotional about that.
Yeah, no, because at first, as we said before, as podcasting is like a niche. So you don't care about the money right now. You just want to see what podcasting can bring you, and learn things about it.
Yeah.
And first it was just to see, okay, I really like podcast and podcasting. So how can I use it? How can I be involved in that? And then probably because I'm coming from the startup and or entrepreneurship field, but because there is no solution for me for people who don't like techniques and don't like to have the view meters, and curves and everything like this, so that's why you said, okay, there is nothing, so maybe there we can do something to launch this solution.
It makes sense to me, and it brings me to think of something that that often happens when we're talking about products, right? We're talking about products that help you do something that otherwise you would need a high quality of education to do. You're an engineer by education, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yes.
This is, would you let somebody be an engineer without the proper qualification? Probably not, right?
I don't know.
This probably
I'm
not.
Sure.
Probably not, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
But do you think that by giving people the possibility to make podcasts, aren't you really saturating podcasts in that sense? So a little bit conflict there. Allow me to be the bad guy. Yeah, so aren't you just helping everybody make a podcast, and now everybody can do it, and podcasts lose on value? Don't you think about that sometimes?
Maybe, but it's not because maybe you are not a technician, people, but you have something very interesting to say about a specific field. I don't know, for example, like psychology. I don't know, and it's not because you are not a technician, people, that you don't have the right to take the mic. It's so for me, it's just that it's not just to democratize the podcast, to say that everybody should take the mic and then speak about what they want. It's just that helping people who have something interesting to say, to have the opportunity to say it to a lot of people.
That's a great answer. That's a really good answer. Now, this brings me back to your to how you look at the value that would be in podcasting. You had to take into consideration the audio industry as a whole. Now, COODIO is exactly about that, is empowering this industry. But before you went into that, did you had consideration? What did you think about actually this audio industry from beforehand, like from the outside?
I think I did have no. How can I say that?
No worries. Your own words. We're all about lighthearted conversation.
And because English is not so easy sometimes, but no, I did have no specific ideas on audio economy or audio.
Well, I can get that. And by the way, your English is great.
No, we're gonna fight now.
I know that in France, it's not accustomed to just speak English. Je parle un peu français.
Nice.
On peut. My high school, in my high school, I used to fight with my French teacher. I was so I guess my French is not that good, but your English is way better than my French. I can tell you that. But regarding the audio industry, it's just that I wouldn't say it's a small industry, right? Because there's a lot of money in this industry, but I mean, you have ecosystems and you have different integrals. You do still, I mean, you are in this industry. Do you have a feel for the value, that the prospects that you can bring to the industry? So you feel strongly about this. You're convinced that there is a goal, that there is a lot of value to be made.
You're talking about audio or podcasting?
Audio in general, because podcasting,
Audio in general.
podcasting, what you're saying is on point. You can give people a simple way of doing podcasts, and they will bring their stories, and value will be made. But on audio in general, you have audio, you have video. Some people say, video is actually where the money is. Some people say, well, audio, you have smart speakers going out there. You have different innovations happening, but you need to believe in it. The data doesn't matter. At the end of the day, when you ground a startup, you need to be sure in what you believe in. How do you see this?
Yeah, because audio is so wide, we said, it's very difficult to have a unique speech about it. When you speak about audio, first, before I was coming to the podcasting, for me, audio was only the radio. So for me, radio was like a medium from the past. I was not listening a lot to radio.
Well, now we're going to fight because I work in a company. It's all about radio.
No, but
no. Don't get me wrong. That's good. That's good.
It's okay. I'm working a lot with Digigram and radio, so I know that it was just what can I say? That's just my point of view. But anyway, and so for me, radio was like a medium that was going down, and because of the podcast, because of the vocal assistant and everything, I think audio has coming back, and we are finding new, how can I say, new advantages of the audio. And we were just choosing 10% of the audio possibilities, and because of a lot of things,
No, that makes sense. I agree with you on that, by the way. And even though if I have to play devil's advocate, for radio and things, I actually think that with podcasting and the audio possibilities being explored, radio actually got a big value ingest, especially in the pandemic. You see people are, you seeing more value being brought back. And it is an industry that has a lot of prospect in that sense. But I agree with you completely. There is a lot of difficulties in the way you see it. It's just because of the stereotype. So you would say radio, well, I'm not consuming any radio on a radio. But is it then still radio? So that's why even for me in my work or COODIO or others, there is a lot of way to have and value to have these discussions because the definitions have completely dispersed. Everything is so murky and so I understand what you're saying. I also think there is a problem, by the way, in thinking of multimedia. Because what we're doing right now is multimedia.
Yeah.
I am taking great care of, that we'll have good audio quality as well, but I'm putting some video. So at the end, everything will combine itself. And, that's how I see it. And that brings me to a question to you, by the way, that how do you see the future generally? I know we talked about this now, but if we're talking about the next decade in audio, so is podcasting going to go up, going to go down? We're going to see more devices. Is there a technology in video or audio? Let's talk audio. Video, no. In audio that makes you say, well, I think this is what's going to make a change, for example.
Yeah, I think audio will help a lot, and maybe the future of audio is more about I'm not sure about the English word, to be honest. It's a vocal command.
Oh, okay. Voice assist or voice commands, okay. Something like that.
Voice commands, yeah. Because I think we are at the point that we are too much looking at our screen, like smartphone and everything. And I think we just want to step back a little bit about that. I'm not sure, but for myself, yes. But
you're saying for yourself, but I agree.
Yeah.
I'd be happy if I wouldn't have to sit in front of a screen all day. That's
yes, you're right.
I think your view of things is interesting if we're talking about voice assist, because have you ever, or do you, talk to your phone outside?
No,
This,
not right now.
that's exactly. So that is also something that I see from my point of view. There are a lot of things in technology that has more to do with culture and politics. It's not in the culture yet, not in Europe. I had a funny thing seeing a colleague from the US before Corona, of course, and he was talking to his watch. And I was kind of like, you know, in the middle of a room, everybody's working. He's kind of like, hey, and I was kind of like, what? Freedom. I found it kind of like, wow, okay, that's nice. You know, it's human. And I think this is missing in voice for the next 10 years. It's actually the culture and kind of the openness to audio and thinking about these things. Do you have anything else that you think about except for voice commands and voice assist, something like this?
No,
Nothing
to be
specific.
honest, no. I know there is a lot of new innovation coming on about the audio, about the radio, with the DAB and everything, but
don't
you know, for me, it's just for technical people. It's nothing for listener. How can I say? It would not change life of people, but
well, I can say that you are putting this in a very good perspective, because when everybody that I talk to, also regarding the show, that they say, well, voice assist is always the hot topic, but you and your work are actually doing something different. You're doing production. You're helping people produce. Is there something in that direction that you think that is a threat, value, prospect for the future, next 10 years that you see, maybe?
Yeah, I think so, because as I said just before, right now it's all the audio world is kind of how can I say, it's reserved for experts.
That's
for
true.
people who knows, and I think it could be great to democratize a lot about this, and that's why I'm thinking there is something to do with that. You were talking about the high quality sound, which is difficult to obtain.
That's true.
And I think you can do something, okay, without $5,000. You can do something to have a better sound without a lot of gears around. So
I agree with you. That's needed. It's really needed.
And I think it's not to criticize the audio world, but no. I think people were liking to have this kind of expertise. And when you talk with them, it's always very difficult to understand, because they are using a lot of specific words and everything. But they need to do what the video has done. You were talking about Snapchat or TikTok or everything. I know it's not good quality, but it's democratizing the video. And we have to do the same for the audio, I think.
This is something I agree regarding letting the users be empowered in production. What do you think that it will make people who are, let's say, especially in radio, for example, this is where a good, let's say, a good discussion could be, that you are taking away from the professionals their ability to say, okay, this is professional and this is not. Just by talking about technology, for example, I think 2-3 weeks ago, NVIDIA released their broadcaster application that uses AI to cancel noise, to make really, not cancel noise, but also to really make recordings really good in places that are noisy. Now, you could say that, especially in what you're doing, but also in these kinds of innovation, the profession of saying, okay, this is good audio and this is not, is being destroyed. Do you think like that? Or do you think still, even in that case, even the audio professionals are profiting from democratization and opening up of what is good audio? Do you think that?
I think it can be great for everybody to democratize. I'm still thinking that, of course, it will be still a difference between an expert in audio doing equalization or noise reduction in the studio from the artificial intelligence doing it on the road, on the street. I don't know. Of course, it will be different, but it's not what we're talking about. Is not to replace people. Is to say, okay, let's open it to other people. And I think that's all. It's the same for video. I don't see the TV channel saying that Snapchat is stealing their audience.
That's true.
Maybe more YouTube than Snapchat, but anyway.
No, that's true. That's true. What you're saying. The actually, if you look at this, a competition is actually helping people. In my perspective, is helping people set new standards. So if everybody can do this, but I can do this plus more, I'm worth more now. That's how I see it. It's not necessarily canceling it. But this is a very big discussion, and you're doing good. I was a bad guy in a few of these questions, so you're doing really good. But let's talk about something personal. Let's because we always signature. There are two things: beer and COODIO itself. You talked a lot about democratization, and that's what COODIO. It's a little bit for, right? I mean, at least inside the industry itself, letting us cooperate with each other, letting us cooperate with each other. Do you have any things you're excited about, or maybe looking forward to work with COODIO?
Yes, we just launched a call for partnership with COODIO, with Benoit. And because, as you can imagine, our solution is a very complex one, because you have the recording, you have the editing, you have the hosting. It's a very different resources that we need, and that's why we are asking the COODIO community to see if people are interested in our project, and if there are some resources to give us. And I think it could be a very good project, because it's very multiple resources or multiple domain. I don't know what to say.
No, that's good. That's good. Well put.
Yeah.
That's well put. Yeah, I think the words are very well there. I had the chance of actually to talk business with some COODIO members for where I work, and I must say it's a great way for me to get to know the industry better, for example, by talking to you. So working together is definitely great for me. And another thing that's really a COODIO hallmark at this point, because I mean, Benoit, you know Benoit a bit more than I do, actually, I think, at this point. We have to talk beer a bit, at least a bit. It's a COODIO thing. I like it. Benoit likes it. Benoit is a connoisseur, beer connoisseur at some, what's your favorite?
Yeah, so unfortunately, I decreased a lot my alcohol consumption in the past few years, but the only one I kept.
We have to close the show. We have closed the show. I delete this episode. It's done. It's done. I'm sorry. Excusez-moi. C'est pas possible.
I kept the beer. So what I said. So I'm still drinking beer. I stopped everything except the beer. So I couldn't stop the beer.
That's good. That's what I want to. No. Guys, I'm not encouraging drinking. I'm not encouraging drinking. Just a little bit. It's the weekend. We can drink something. What do you have a favorite kind or something?
Yeah, I'm a very soft beer person. So I really like the lager beer or pale beer, but not the brown one, the brown ale.
Well, I love the I wouldn't call it brown. It's more of like the wheat beer. Well, it's the classic. I say it's not classic for Germany, but it's at least for Bavaria where I am. It's one of my favorites without a doubt. And but lager, well, if it's rich in taste and it has like you said, pale ale, something that's a bit more rich, or sometimes I like also fruity. So it's like, there's some delicate stuff out there. What's it called? The one that you would drink the most? Because I don't know that many French beer. Like I said, excusez-moi.
Yeah, I really not a French beer fan.
Oh, okay.
I'm more drinking German or Czech beer. Yeah, they have a lot of
Sacre
good
bleu.
beer.
Oh, that's oh mon
Yeah, I
Dieu.
know.
So German beer. So now you have to say which beer,
Yeah, I never remember the name of the beer. I'm sorry, I'm very bad on that.
I will assume for you that it's the beer I like, just because I decided. Okay.
Okay, which one?
It's one of my favorites is it's actually from a Bavarian boutique, not boutique craft beer. It's called Republic Crew, and it's really good. But actually, I would drink also a lot of Helles. That's the typical Munich beer. You can get it in France, I think, so it's probably not that, but still, if you're in Germany, you should try it. It's a great beer.
Okay.
That Bavarian beer. But, that's too much for beer. We're not doing beer commercials. We'll get into that, I'm sure. Yeah, so Matthieu, thank you very much for this interview. I think we had some great topics here, and I'm really thankful for you being on the show. And hopefully you're going to work more and, of course, use the network that COODIO is offering. I'm really happy that this is working. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Asaf. It was a great pleasure to be with you. And I'm sure it's just the beginning with COODIO.
That is exactly what we'd like to hear. Thank you very much. And to you guys back home, thank you guys. Number 2, the second COODIO show. Thanks again, Matthieu. And thanks for being a part of the COODIO show. See you guys. Ciao.
Bye.